Quick one guys, if you're only interested in the redesign video I made and not the process of how I designed it, skip to the timestamp shown on screen now. Alright, on with the video. Hey everyone. Today I'm changing up the format a little bit from the videos I normally make in order to talk about the sound design potential of quote-unquote internet horror creatures. Slenderman, Jeff the Killer, SCPs, these characters took the internet by storm back in the early 2010s with a plethora of fan-made stories, videos, art, and of course, games. These games were absolutely everywhere, and their exposure was massively helped along by the rising popularity of Let's Play channels, where viewers could tune in day after day after day and get their fix of all the spooky goodness they wanted. And of course, I was one of these viewers. Little teenage James. Ew. I couldn't wait to get home from a day of school, turn on my computer and catch up on the newest horror Let's Play by my favourite YouTubers. This new Jeff the Killer game is going to be even scarier than the last, I would think to myself before clicking on that new Markiplier or PewDiePie video. And now, going on 7 years later, I look back at these Let's Plays with a sense of nostalgia, because it was really my first introduction to horror games and how tense and uneasy video game sound design could make me feel. Since then I've gotten into playing horror games myself, but as I played more and more games, it's dawned on me. I don't know how any of these classic internet horror creatures sound. Sure, I know how they look and how they move, but I have no idea how they sound outside of the loud jump scare noises that bombard you in most of these older games. I began to convince myself more and more that the scariness in games based around these creatures couldn't come from the noises they made, that the build-up of tension using sound design is the only scary part and what puts the player on edge rather than the creature sounds themselves. Maybe because sonically defining a horror creature, which is at its core a myth or a legend, somehow detracts from what's scary about it in the first place? But recently, I stumbled across this guy. Siren Head. The 2020 internet horror sensation Siren Head, I feel, is one of the more interesting monsters from a sound design point of view that's surfaced in a long while. The monster is immediately associated with a sound that brings about feelings of panic, danger and anxiety, and before you even see Siren Head, by name alone you know what you should be listening out for. Hint, it's sirens. Wee woo. Remember the feeling you got the first time you played Silent Hill as those air raid sirens went off? The sound that triggers that feeling of dread and foreboding that something bad is about to happen to you is now personified as a bona fide monster sound. Another cool characteristic of Siren Head is that it has the ability to release sounds of news broadcasts, human conversation and screams along with its siren. This should get any sound designer super excited at the prospect of designing this creature, as it has the possibility of sounding like pretty much anything, along with already having a super unique personality. I'm going to try and design it. First, I made a quick video to redesign, using gameplay footage from the game Siren Head by developer Undreamed Panic. I wanted to look like one of those cursed internet videos or found footage horror films. Then, once the video was done, I set out to do some sound design. I started out by making my own version of the sound most associated with Siren Head, a broken Chicago tornado siren. Let's go Bulls! I mapped out the pitch of the siren in a MIDI item, then designed two different synth patches in Helm in order to replicate the eerie and alarming tone. Here's what my version ended up sounding like. Next, in order to fill out the video, I added some basic footsteps from my sample library, as well as some environmental Foley and ambience that change depending on where the person is. I made a horror drone that ramps up in intensity using some time-stretched and pitch-shifted screams, as well as the sound of a broken computer fan. I then automated it so that the drone started off with just the very low rumbly bass, as the scene builds in intensity, adding in the high end further along. Then I got some of my friends to send me some voiceover lines in order to spice up the scene in various places. I wanted these lines to sound as if they were being mimicked by Siren Head, so every line I used is altered in some way to make the voice sound slightly off. I did this using a variety of techniques, including bit crushing, pitch shifting, adding too much reverb. I also quite like time stretching the lines, as in doing so I could actually incorporate the artifacts it created usefully. I also made a more intense siren in Helm, just to have a bit of variation from the first siren I created. Finally, I created some big heavy footstep sounds for Siren Head, some rustling in the bushes sounds, and some other miscellaneous sounds here and there in order to add more believability to the video. I balanced and automated the whole thing in order to build tension, added a high and low pass build to everything apart from the drone layers to add a VHS quality to the whole thing, and here's the final result.
sounds safe. It's just I'm hiding up in that tower. It was safe.
Overall, I quite liked how it turned out, and the idea of it mimicking a group of friends lost in the woods was a really fun challenge. I want to thank my mates Andreas, Izzy, and Judah for supplying their lovely voices for the scene, and also Undreamed Panic for making the Siren Head game. There's a link in the description where you can download the game and try it for yourself. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.